Oh, Andor.
Oh.
Season finale.
Mm-hmm.
The whole Did you watch it?
Mm-hmm.
Andor's the best Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Since Empire Strikes Back.
Make you cry, make you cheer, make you feel all the things they must have felt that fateful night in those dirty, dirty theaters back in 77, wading through the muck on Times Square, the Triple X and the DP and seeing that there's all these naughty, nasty movies playing around them, live nudes, girls on film, and all these guys walking through all that going, I don't think I'll be going in there. I think I'll be watching the X-Wing. And they walk up, they go, I don't even know what that is. Thank you very much. Like, but I'll take one ticket. And they say 75 cents. And they go, ticket prices are getting out of hand. And they walk in and they see the movie where this guy in a white helmet bumps his head.
The dead speak. Gravis and Mr. Toneloke look towards the earthen skyline to see graveyards of fallen Jedi. But henceforth shall be known forevermore as Mon Mothma Mon Mothma Mon Qui. Yes, this is Arise.
People are going to be really mad
Yeah.
about this one.
How dare you?
Oh, I just mean because it's so loud.
I thought just because it's annoying.
Well, that too, yeah.
But also,
Arise.
Andor, yes, okay. It's of course it's the best. If you're saying that it's not even good, you're an idiot. And people are saying that. It's not Star Wars.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? It is.
I think it's just, I mean, I'll just say this. It's bad at improv because typically we do yes and they spend the whole season doing and or.
All right. So I'll say that it is the best Star Wars since the original, since Empire Strikes Back, I'll say. But
I might have to agree with you.
is it my favorite? Now that's the more interesting question. And that's the more because objectively it is the best. It just is. There's action, there's thought, there's all of the ingredients that you want and all of the ingredients that I have painstakingly tried to sort of project onto the prequel trilogy for years, even as a boy. No, seriously, it's about trade disputes. That's cool. It's about the political turmoil of a republic that's gotten too cozy and using the Jedi as a police force rather than a monk-like sort of establishment to
All right, kid, do you want one or two cherries in your Shirley Temple?
chew
right.
like the moons of Tatooine.
I'll be back to your table soon.
So
What?
wow. How'd I get this freaking squeaky on my back?
Says O'Neill.
So so this one actually does do all the things that we wished, and many of us sort of argue that the other ones have done, but they haven't.
Many of us.
They haven't done this. Certainly not to the successful sort of combination that they've found in Andor, where it is, it's slow at times. But you want it to be slow. And the conversations that people are having are as intriguing as the action. And I just really love it. But is it my favorite? That remains to be seen.
For me it is.
Out of all Star Wars things?
I mean, let's say, at least for now, out of what I want out of Star Wars for now, it's quenching something I once thought was unquenchable.
Yeah.
Something that was so dry and ridden with with just
the sands of Tatooine.
it was just no. It was more like the salt
Oh yes.
on Kratom or whatever. I thought that I would just be eating red salt for the rest of my life, getting thirstier and thirstier until I dry up.
But here comes along Andor. Here comes along Andor with a big frothy teat full of that blue milk or the green milk, I guess, that Luke squirts out of that thing on the little...
Luke likes the green milk. The cereal man in Andor likes the blue milk.
Well, and we all... I mean, but that's sort of,
That's just what they drink. They don't have white milk up there.
No.
Sorry.
I
know that what you're probably thinking, libtards at all, trying to make us sip the teat of multiculturalism. Well, guess what? Get used to it. We're here.
Don't do that with your microphone.
Which part?
The rubbing of...
Hold on. I think it's my neck.
Oh.
Better?
Yes! Yes!
Landon's going to have so much editing to do.
No.
It's what I've wanted. I don't know why it's so hard for them to do it. Because there's so much that you can do with it. You know, you have a whole universe of stuff that you can do. But I want all the slow stuff is just more world building. Just all the little dirt that you want to all the interesting stuff about the political side of everything. Every time Mon Mothma opens her maw, I'm like, shh, I have to hear what she has to say. She's like, my husband and I, blah, blah, blah. I don't remember any of it, but it sure is good.
So good to watch.
And her husband's like, ponytail.
It takes what I think George was trying to do with the prequels, and then it takes what was completely lacking in the Disney movies, which is, people say, oh yeah, a political, you want to talk about politics in a kid's movie, George? And he did, of course. There's too many scenes where people are sitting around in their little circles talking about, I am now the Republic, and you could be the Republic. And people are clapping.
And they're like, pop, 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 pop.
And yes, if you look closely, you can see ETs. But it perfectly synthesizes the sort of action-focused elements of the Disney Star Wars, where they literally killed... People don't even realize this. In The Force Awakens, they kill the capital of the galaxy in like 2 seconds. And you don't even realize that that's like a whole world. The whole political structure of the galaxy is gone. So it's back, kind of everything resets to good guys versus bad guys. But there's not even an awareness, or like, because they were so worried about, well, George tried to get political. But they don't realize that you can do it well.
Yeah.
And here comes Mr. Tony Gilroy and his friends. And they do it well. And I'm just happy that it's happening.
I'll be sad when it's over. I'm excited for season 2.
It's certainly the best of the Disney Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give you that. No problem. It's the best and my favorite.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be... I couldn't wait for Obi-Wan. And I've sort of forgotten that happened. I saw an Obi-Wan Kenobi Christmas ornament today, and I went, oh, yeah.
I don't understand how they did this, where they gave a lot more money and time to Andor, which you would think was like, okay, we'll give them... They can use the big screen TV stage, and everything looks bad and fake in it. They can use that. That's like some side character in a movie no one cares about. We'll give a bunch of money to Obi-Wan Kenobi, the star of the whole Star Wars universe. Arguably. I mean, kind of.
Yeah.
He's my favorite guy. Now, will I
Am.
the hologram version? Talking to Anderson Cooper
Yes.
in 2008 or 9. Probably like 2007, I'd say. Because I think it was
That
about
long ago.
I think it was about the elections.
Yeah. Funny.
So you have that, and that's kind of happens in Andor.
Mm-hmm.
A big hologram of a certain, we'll just call her a black-eyed pea.
But everything is so grounded and thought out.
Yes.
These little three episode arcs that just everything that they put into these, I get it.
Yeah.
I get everything about it. And you go, oh yeah, they do have all these slaves working on this thing. There's all these little stories.
And just the first 3-act thing, you're like, oh, this was good. And then the second 3-act thing was like, oh, well, this is incredible with the stars and that stuff. You're like, well, that's the best thing I've seen in some time. And then he's in a prison. Mm-hmm. And then that 3-act arc is even better.
And then the end, you get, this is what we've been missing. This end
It all comes
piece.
together.
We're not going to spoil anything.
No.
But the act of the rebellion and people coming together to in a real way. It's not just you've got these things out there in the galaxy and it's already so here's the rebellion and yes, these are the good guys and the bad guys. We get to see why, and we get to see how an uprising takes place. And you get to hear a little podcast. He's listening to a podcast that's talking about real things in our world right now that mirror things that he's not actually talking about. They don't go, and then Mr. Putin. But there's things that mirror what's happening in our world.
Of course.
On his little podcast he's listening to. And you go, that's it. That's why they want this uprising. That's why he's going to be a hero in this galaxy.
Well, and that's not just any podcast. I can't tell if you're joking or not.
Well, it's a podcast.
Yes. Because it's the little pud from earlier.
Mm-hmm.
His, what do you call it? His manifesto.
His podcast.
It's even more tied together than
manifest. There's something funny there.
Yeah. Well, that's one of my favorite Jedi.
What did
Kit Fisto?
Yeah, Kit Fisto
and his wife Mana Fisto.
And I feel like Bono. There's something with Bono in there.
Bonafisto?
Why don't you keep talking?
Okay.
I fucking love it so much.
Well, so Andor, yes, and here's something else that Andor does. It makes me feel stuff.
Yeah.
It made me feel when a certain thing happens at the prison. Actually, the whole prison thing. There's so much good stuff in it, Joey. And you would think at this point we've gotten so much Star Wars content. Most of it fine, but not super great, and like a few exceptional pieces. But at this point, for a show to come along in probably the most explored time in this universe, the rise of the Empire and the rise of the rebellion, it's like, how can we possibly tell a story that would make me care about this? And they do it. And they do it well. And they make you think and care about the rebellion in a way that you didn't before, at least for me. You don't realize the sacrifice of the rebellion. You don't realize the evil, the very tactile, evil, and mundane, like just sort of mundane evil that you see in the world is the Empire. And it recontextualizes all of the original trilogy, even. I can't wait to go back and rewatch these movies now with the knowledge I have of what they're doing in Andor and how the Empire has tightened their grip. That line in A New Hope when they're like, the Empire's tightening its grip or whatever. That's this. That's what they're talking about.
Mac Fisto.
Yes, his funny stage guy.
Would you like really quick just to hear when I look up Bono nicknames? Would you like to hear what I get?
Sure.
B-Man,
Whoa.
Bon,
Okay.
Bon Murray,
What?
Bono, Bono Vox of O'Connell Street, Houseman, Huseman, Stein Heg von Huysen Old Gang Bang
No.
Bang and the Mirror Ball Man.
Whoa.
This is what I'm talking about. You've got the, as you put it, the mundane of the evil. It's not the I'm going to cast you down and you're going to. It's the political side of we're doing this and you're following these people and hearing their side of it, not just we want to kill all the rebels.
Right.
You're getting these little and the ways that they twist people and make them they skew everything, and you know what they're talking about, like with the natives on their land and how they're moving them out of there.
Yes.
How they talk about it and how everything is sort of coded to make it sound politically palatable.
Yes.
But it's not. And almost
not.
telling themselves that this is, but there's hate underneath it.
And it goes right along with some of the great stuff from the prequels of when the Republic basically just elects a dictator, and Padme says that beautiful line. So this is how liberty dies, not to whatever, but to thunderous applause.
Yep.
Whatever. And this is capitalizing on that one idea, the one good idea from the prequels. And this is doing it beautiful justice. I think this, people talk about how the like cartoons and stuff flesh out the prequels that make it better, which is true from what I've seen. But I think this is doing that for all of Star Wars.
Yeah.
God.
And I just love the way it all looks. If I saw like a pod race in this movie, in this show, I'd just be happy.
I love
Every
it.
time they bring in something that you're familiar with, it's not just like, okay.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like with Boba Fett, you go, oh, all right.
Right.
I get it. You want to see the thing, but even the blue milk that just makes you go, you would put it on cereal, wouldn't you?
Exactly. And people get mad at that.
Well,
They're
shut
like,
up. He's a cereal guy.
they're like, yes, his name is Cyril, and he likes cereal. Some things you don't have to think too hard about them. But no, it's actually, when you look at that scene, when you look at those scenes where he's eating cereal, how many freaking times have you, after you've lost your job,
Right?
your mom makes fun of you,
Right.
and what do you have in the cupboard? You're not a wealthy man. All you have is a little milk and some cereal. So what do? You sit there and you silently eat your cereal while your mother berates you about not being good enough.
And then you slurp and slurp and slurp
Yes.
milk.
Because that's probably that's the single solitary moment of his day that's happy. When he's just slurping his blue milk.
Yeah. It's a great... there's a lot we could say about it, but we'll save that.
We'll save that for when the political, because it's so politically, like when the original Star Wars came out, it was just different. There was a different political.
Just how do you mess up 3 movies so bad?
Which ones?
Like $200 million each or whatever. The Disney ones.
Oh yeah.
How do you do that? And then
I don't know.
this little man, this little Gil boy, he weasels his way in there.
Gilroy and his brothers.
And he goes, I have an idea.
Well, what's funny too is because he was involved with Rogue One, and then someone else wrote Andor, and then they were like, Tony, could you please look at this and tell us what you think? And he's like, yes, I like it, but I do it completely differently. And they're like, oh, would you like to do it completely differently? And he was like, yes. And isn't that the dream?
Rogue One's one of my favorite movies.
Well,
Period.
Yeah. What? of all time.
I mean, if I'm looking at a list of 1 to 50, right? It's probably up there, 5 or 10.
Really? That's cool.
It's just I love the way it's shot.
Hey.
It's shot like a war film.
Yeah.
They say, here's what it's like on the ground with these people that are just trying to deal with this thing.
I tell you what, I'm going to like it a lot more now.
I mean, all the Star Wars are my favorite movies.
Yes.
I'm going to rewatch it because even though you know how his story ends,
That's what's so...
you go, oh, this man is a hero.
And you look at, especially now they're expanding all this story, and you just look at, as Luthen says in his epic speech to end all speeches about sacrifice,
He takes his little wig off.
he's standing there much like a Sith Lord, but
Yeah.
he's a good guy. But is he? That's what's so
know.
beautiful about this show. Mm-hmm. It's not just a good Star Wars show. It's a good show.
It's a good show, period.
Anyway, what else did you watch?
And Mon Mothma.
It's the best.
Did I think I would care
No.
about her little backstory? About, okay, she did, yeah, she's a...
But it's one of the most compelling parts of the show. The only thing I really have to say as a complaint about the show is that I think Andor is, much like in Rogue One, kind of the least interesting piece of the puzzle. But I mean, that's okay. I like him. I just think every other story, I like his story, but he has to be such a like passive character that there's nothing really there for me to hold on to.
Because he's kind of just going through...
He's just watching. He's like the audience foil almost, or like the audience. What do you call that?
Maybe we're all Andor.
We're all Andor.